As the Patriots embark on a new future, which of these draft-eligible quarterbacks do you want the most? If it's Caleb Williams, type CW. If it's Drake Maye, type DM. How about Jaden Daniels, type JD? Let us know. We're going to dive into today's show. You're watching Patriots Today by Chat Sports. I am Harrison Graham. Is Caleb Williams officially off to the draft? Not officially, but kind of unofficially, he is, as Lincoln Riley, his college head coach, announced that Caleb Williams will not play in the Holiday Bowl. There had been some rumors that he was considering a return to school next season, but this is pretty significant to me. This all but ends that idea. And look, I get it. I get Caleb Williams being emotional after losing to UCLA and finishing a disappointing season, especially from a wins and losses standpoint at USC. But once he sat down, talked to people around him, his dad, his team, whatever, it was probably pretty damn obvious, like, yeah, dude, you need to go pro. Like, you're going to more than likely than not be the number one pick in the NFL draft. Yeah, you didn't reach all your goals in college. You didn't play in the college football playoff, win a national championship, but you won a Heisman. You've positioned yourself for life-changing money, not only for you, but for your family. It's a no-brainer for Caleb Williams to go pro, and obviously that's a good thing for the New England Patriots, because while there is a chance they can get the number one pick, if they don't, obviously if Williams had gone back to school, then it severely reduces your chances of getting a quarterback with that number 2 pick if that's where they end up. So sigh of relief, Rolly. Thank goodness. I don't think we ever were really worried about it, but now that it appears to be unofficially official, whatever you want to call it, the Patriots, who are in a great position to get a top 2 pick, should have their hands on Drake Maye or Caleb Williams.
Yeah, there was a 5% part of me that was like actually scared that Caleb Williams was going to go back to USC, just because he's such an, it feels like, I wouldn't say like odd guy, Harrison, but it feels like he does do things differently from everyone
Unconventional.
else. I mean, he's got the painted fingernail stuff. He's an emotional player. I mean, the rumors, I don't know how true it is, that he'd want ownership in whatever team drafted him. It does seem like he's a little more different in the way he thinks, but he is an uber-talented quarterback that probably is going number 1 overall, and the nightmare of him returning back to USC and then ruining the top of the draft to where if the Patriots finished with a 2nd or 3rd pick, it would significantly change the direction they go in. It's finally over, which is really good, because if they had to be at that 2 or 3 spot and Maye is gone, Caleb's back at USC, and you have, well, I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm not going to complain, but still need to figure out the quarterback position. Happy now that it's all but likely going to be either Maye or Williams with the top 2 selection.
Yeah, and of course we've outlined pretty well that barring something unforeseen, the Patriots are going to be picking in the top 2 and potentially even number 1, depending on what happens over these final few weeks. Speaking of which, what pick do you guys believe the Patriots end up with? If you think they're going to get the first pick, type 1. If you think they'll stick with the number 2 pick, which is where they're at right now, type 2. I think it'll be 2, but I would not rule out getting that top selection, especially if New England loses tomorrow night, which we'll talk about that a little bit here. But let us know, 1, if you think it'll be the first pick, or 2 for the second. Let's talk about a current player who's injured. That is Rhamondre Stevenson. He's already been ruled out for Thursday Night Football, as has Pop Douglas, by the way, the rookie wide receiver. Stevenson dealing with an ankle injury, and we're kind of just wondering here, as he's dealing with a high ankle sprain, by the way, and that it sounds like it could be a couple of weeks, might as well just shut him down, right? I mean, high ankle sprains usually 2 to 4 weeks. Let's say he could be back in 3. Do you bring him back with 2 weeks to go? I don't really think so. I mean, obviously there's 0 chance at the playoffs, and you're kind of in tank mode anyway, if we're being completely honest. I think you shut him down, give Zeke a heavier workload, give him an opportunity to put some good tape out there and be able to sign somewhere else next year, or potentially put out some good tape to return to New England. I wouldn't completely dismiss that idea. I think he's done some good things. So if it's me, I'd shut it down for Rhamondre Stevenson, but we'll keep an eye on this story as the weeks progress. Something you should definitely do is get started with our daily fantasy partner. That is Prize Picks. They offer a $100 deposit match when you use the code CLNS by signing up at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Daily fantasy made easy. You pick 2 to 6 players on any given entry, and if they will go for more or less than their stat projections from Prize Picks. And this should be a doozy on Thursday night. Give me the less for both Mitch Trubisky and Bailey Zappi on their passing yards. I think this could be ugly, folks, and I would not be surprised if this game's like 10-7, 13-6, something like that, one way or the other. I just don't see either of these quarterbacks having big days. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use our code CLNS. That 2-player entry can win up to 3 times your money, so $30. If you do more players in your entries, more bang for your buck, but obviously more risk as you're trying to hit on all of them. So go to PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use our code CLNS and get a deposit match up to $100. Rolly and I both like Rhamondre Stevenson. He's been probably your best complete overall offensive player, even though I don't think it's necessarily been his best season by any means. But when you can't throw the football as a team, when the offensive line is already poor and there's injuries on top of it, I think that he's done some good things. But that being said, Rolly, high ankle sprain, you're a 2-10 football team. You shut this thing down, right?
Oh, I mean, I completely agree. I don't think there's any reason to bring back Rhamondre Stevenson, who, in all reality, has been your best offensive player this year. You just saw the numbers. He's over 800-plus all-purpose yards. He can do it through the air. He can do it through the ground for New England. And even behind an offensive line who hasn't been that good at all this year, Rhamondre Stevenson has made things work. The one knack on Stevenson is that he does not find the end zone often, but I think that's just more of a Patriots offensive issue than himself. But like I mentioned, like you talked about, there's no reason to bring back Rhamondre. High ankle sprain, don't bring him back when a win and him helping the team means nothing. Just keep him out. No need to have him potentially re-injure that ankle. Just let him rest up, and then hopefully he's back next year as the Patriots lead back, and which would be his 3rd season as that lead back, as he broke out last year and has had a decent-sized season so far in 2023.
So what do you guys think? Do y'all agree with Rolly and I? Should Rhamondre Stevenson be shut down? If you do agree with us, type Y for yes. If you don't, if you want to see him back out there, type in for no. If you're typing you're in for no, you might be a Rhamondre Stevenson fantasy owner. That would be my best guess at that. Y for yes, in for no. Let us know what you guys feel on this one. All right, this coming in from Zach Cox. Also a Riley Reef update. He will not be activated from IR. His 21-day practice window has come and gone, which means his season is over. And let's just call a spade, Rolly. This right tackle competition, platoon plan, whatever you want to call it, just an absolute disaster, as both Reef and Anderson have been injured a lot, and even when they have played, it hadn't exactly been pretty either.
It's been an absolute train wreck, and this one's on Bill Belichick. I mean, the plan at right tackle this year was to have Riley Reef and Calvin Anderson, 2 veterans that Belichick signed in free agency, come in and compete. They were going to have Trent Brown at the left tackle, Cole Strange at left guard, David Andrews at center, Uwenu at right guard, and then these 2 battling it out for the right tackle position. But Reef has never really even got to see the field because of injury concerns. Calvin Anderson also dealing with a lot of injuries over the season, but when he did play, he was absolutely abysmal. The lack of awareness by BB not to go sign a true right tackle in a class that had a lot of right tackles out to sign. Yeah, McGlinchey hasn't been that good, and Caleb McGarry has been up and down, but at least they are, quote-unquote, guys that you stick there and gave money to, right? Like, the plan to rotate right tackles was just an absolute disaster, and it obviously didn't work out, which made Uwenu have to go back to right tackle, and he's been all right there, but now you don't know going into this next offseason and next NFL season, what's your long-term answer at right tackle? And if it is Uwenu, then you got to replace the right guard, whereas it's been Sidy Sow over the past 3 to 4 weeks. There's just a lot of question marks over the offensive line right now, and it's all stemmed from the decision to go with Reef and Calvin Anderson.
Yeah, and look, it's hard to plug every hole going into a season, especially a team like New England, who clearly this was a bit of a transition year for them. But this is a bad plan. I mean, Calvin Anderson's never shown to be a quality starter. Riley Reef's had a good career, but he's on the back end. His career in Cincinnati ended with some injuries. The Bears brought him in last year. He played okay. He was kind of in and out of the lineup. not great, and especially when you're trying to evaluate Mac Jones this year. Now, I think he got plenty of opportunities and just didn't deliver, but still, I think you gotta blame Bill Belichick on that game plan there because just was not a very good one. Subscribe to the channel if you want more New England Patriots news and rumors. We'll continue to keep you guys up to date with everything surrounding this football team. We'll continue to look ahead to the draft, next offseason, coaching rumors, maybe GM rumors if Belichick obviously is gone. You got to figure out what you're doing at GM. We're going to be your home for all that. And Rolly's going to be live tomorrow night for the game of the year on Thursday Night Football. Unlike Al Michaels, he will not fall asleep. It'll be Patriots and Steelers. Hello, Mitch Trubisky and Bailey Zappi on Thursday Night Football. You're not going to want to miss it, so we'll see you then.